Happy New Year, everyone. We're back at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center with myself, Jenna Dominique, and the Carlos Gill. We are in 2017. The year has started, and we want to talk about a couple social media trends that are happening and to be expected in 2017. So we had talked about a couple of things. We talked about live video, every social media having a live video platform at this point. What are your thoughts on live video? Where are we going? Facebook has it. Instagram has live video. Twitter has joined with Periscope and has live video. What about Snapchat? Where are we going with that?
Well, Snapchat doesn't have live video yet,
Okay.
but as Snapchat looks towards IPOing here potentially in the first quarter of 2017, I predict that Snapchat will have live video. In fact, I predict that Snapchat will make live video sexy for the masses.
Is that what you think? I've been watching your social media predictions specifically, and a lot of other influencers have really been advocating for Facebook. Your strongest advocation is for Snapchat. Why is that? Why are you advocating so strongly?
It continues to be Snapchat because I tell you what, the majority of users who use social media, no pun intended, are millennials. Over 90% of 18 to 29-year-olds use social media. That's a big demographic using these tools. And you have to look at what are the mediums that this demographic is using. Yes, Facebook is a player there, but Facebook has appealed to the masses, whereas that 18 to 29-year-old demographic is on Snapchat. They're also on Instagram. I know we're going to talk about Instagram in this segment here, but they're using Snapchat. They're using this to message their friends. They're using this to consume content. We're talking about a social network here that gets more video views in one day, 10 billion video views, more than Facebook and more than YouTube. So now if you add live stream to this, and now you give the creators on the platform, the users that, again, make up a big majority of the population using social media, if you give them the ability to live stream, now I think you're actually going to take live stream to a commercial level. Because right now, I think live streaming, it's really hot amongst marketers, amongst the marketing community, but when we're talking about the masses, I don't think we're quite there yet.
So I had noticed on Facebook, they had even been putting out a couple videos, like if you're scared to use Facebook Live, right? This is how you can do it. This is how you generate your audience. And so when I talked to a couple people about Instagram and using Instagram to generate an audience, they're saying they don't really get an audience on Instagram. So how can you generate an audience? How can you, when you're going to go live, is it about having a strategy? Is it about having a time that you're going to go live every day? How can you really capitalize on this tool?
Good question. I think it's taking a step back and really analyzing what do these social networks do for my business. So there's a lot of overlap right now between Facebook and Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram. A lot of folks out there don't know that. But Facebook owns Instagram. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take Snapchat-esque features and introduce them into Instagram to make their platform much more appealing to a younger audience. That doesn't mean much to a business if you don't have your strategy in terms of what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and how often you're going to post. And most importantly, who are you trying to reach? So these are all questions, whether you're a small to medium business or a large enterprise brand, or even just a solopreneur. Who are you trying to reach, and what are you going to put in front of them? The social network essentially is a gateway to go ahead and get in front of this audience. And I'd like to say this, Jenna. Everyone nowadays is media. Everyone is a media source. And I know that sounds kind of taboo because you hear a lot of thought leaders say this, but here's where I'm going with it. Historically speaking, if you wanted to do what we're doing here in the studio, you'd have to have a lot of resources to make this happen. Today, if you have an iPhone and a social media account, regardless if it's Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, you are media. The network that you're on is a part of a global broadcasting network. So my advice out there to anyone watching this is really find your voice and your niche based on the people that you're trying to reach and serve.
So this is my only problem. If we go on Facebook and we see, I remember last year, I would hate to scroll my Facebook because there were so many people just long posts. So are we going to see the same thing with this now Facebook Live? It's like you don't really have to type it. I can just get on a soapbox and pour my little heart out about how I feel about politics. Like, what are we going to do, even if we think back to the election and polling, right? And so how you're saying that everyone can be like their own source of media, if you will. How is this, is everyone an influencer now? What?
You know what? Everyone's a creator.
Everyone's a creator.
I don't like using the word influencer because I think it's subjective. A lot of folks think of an influencer as someone that has a lot of followers. And the reality is that we're all influential to someone out there. So I think we are in this creator we're in this new media economy where everyone has a voice, everyone is a broadcaster, everyone is media. That doesn't mean everyone's going to watch you. And that's real talk. It's no different than if you watch an infomercial at 2 in the morning that doesn't appeal to you, you're gonna switch the channel and you're gonna go to ESPN because you'd rather watch SportsCenter or you'd rather watch CNBC. I like to say it like this. What we create in our world of business and marketing content, we are a news network for that specific audience. If you're into cooking or home and garden, you're the HGTV or you're the Food Network.
For your network.
For your broader network in which you're engaging and creating media on. So I think there's some really good creators out there, but there's more average and not so good creators out there, and the ones that ultimately are gonna win are the ones that are able to captivate people's attention.
And so if they're captivating people's attention or wanting to captivate people's attention using live video, what tips would you give entrepreneurs to actually captivate that attention?
If you are a small business just getting off the ground, I know here you do a lot of work with startups, capture your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
I call it a hustle diary.
Okay.
And where I'm going with this is use these tools maybe a couple times a week to actually show what's happening within your business. Use this as a medium to really humanize your company, humanize your brand, humanize your products, and most importantly, teach. I think that you have folks that consume media on social media for a few different reasons. One, they want to be entertained, and you have your creator community out there. Your YouTubers are doing a very good job at that. But you also have individuals that want to be educated, and they want to be informed. And I want to say there's more people that use these mediums to get educational content than to be entertained. So with that being said, if you run a business of any kind out there, show your audience that's paying attention how your company works. Show them how your products are made. And at the core, just be human. That's what this whole thing is about. I think one thing that's been lost over the years in social media is that the keyword social. You have to socialize. You have to humanize yourself and your brand and your content. And I'll give you another example. If you have, for example, if you are a pizzeria, there's a company called Frank's Toronto Pizza that I got to know a couple years ago through a social network called Meerkat. And Frank's was, and I believe he still does this over a combination of Periscope and Twitter and Facebook Live, Frank actually shows at his pizzeria in Toronto how pizzas are made throughout the day. And if I right now were to go to Toronto, I would most likely go to Frank's because I've gotten to know him. The barber shop that I go to here in San Francisco, I encourage them every single time when I go there and get a haircut. They should literally have a feed throughout the day, just continuously, of what's happening inside the shop. It's a way for you to create your own network within this broader network and create mass awareness for your brand.
And I think on that, it also gives the people that are coming through your business kind of a platform to shine, right? So if we're talking back to the barbershop, right, and you just got an awesome haircut, and you could, in your average day, you think, oh, I'm just a regular Joe, right? But you're a part of this brand's network. You're on their social media. So it's also giving other folks a platform to shine on your platform. So using Facebook Live, Instagram, Periscope, all of these video platforms, amplify your own voice and amplify the voices of your customers as well.
It's just about being human. Again, I hate to say the same thing over and over because now it sounds very buzzword-like, but I'll actually throw us back at you. What type of content do you as a millennial like to see when you go on social media?
When I am on social media, I think there's a couple of friends that I automatically go to. And I think it's, like you said, they're educational, right? Or they are traveling, or they're doing things and experiencing things that physically right now I may not be able to experience. So I'm getting insight into their lives, and that's what I love. I am also getting insight on how I can use the same tools in my life. And so I think that's the kind of content I'm consuming. Also short and brief content. I really don't like anything that's longer than like 3 minutes. If it's longer than 3 minutes, I'm skipping through. So I want it to be short, I want it to be sweet and to the point, and I want it to be personable. So I don't want it to look like, oh, that was scheduled to go out at 9 a.m. You know, like I want it to look like there's a person behind creating and generating this content.
Yeah. Something else to keep in mind also is content creation is not limited to just the brand.
Yeah.
And where I'm going with this is if you have, for example, an online business or you're in e-commerce and you have individuals buying products. On my show, Real Talk, I had Nick Haas from Startup Drugs that came on the show. And Startup Drugs is a really good example of what they do. They sell t-shirts with entrepreneurial sayings on them. And they have a large community of entrepreneurs that are sharing content on a consistent basis. Yeah. If you want to take that approach, go ahead and have a hashtag on all of your apparel, all your product. Okay. Anytime you send a receipt out, make sure it has a hashtag with a call to action. Go on Instagram, go on Twitter, post a photo, with, if it's a shirt, post a photo wearing it.
Yeah.
These are ways that you, over time, can get your community, if you will, or your customers to create content for you. And if you want to go one step further, invite your customers to do a Facebook Live takeover. Or do a Snapchat takeover. Now you can go from just being about your brand, telling your brand story from your point of view, to now you're giving customers who also are influential and have reach their own voice to tell their story about your company from their point of view.
And so what you're saying with that is you don't necessarily have to be the sole content creator for your brand. You have people that are creating content in their day-to-day lives. Allow them, again, to use your platform to amplify their voices. Is that what you're suggesting?
Absolutely. You have customers, you have employees also. So really do an analysis of who can create content potentially for you. That way, you are not just stuck trying to figure out with limited resources how you're gonna go ahead and create this. I think the thing that stops people the most from going out and jumping on social media, it comes down to resources at the end of the day. And I often hear this, what if I don't have anything to post? Well, if you don't have anything to post, go have some conversations. Go find people on social media that are talking about what you do or what you sell or the industry that you are looking to build your brand in, and go talk to people. That's a way of creating content without having to pick up a phone and take a photo or create a video.
So I think what I've heard from you in this conversation is a couple tips for content creation. The first is having conversations, right? If you don't know or don't have any content right now, have some conversations with your users and with some folks around you and get some content. Secondly, have a call to action on your posts or in your social media posts. And thirdly, have a hashtag that is associated with your brand very regularly so that not only are you participating in it, but your customers are also participating. Is that right?
Those are the keys to success for social media, content and community.
And also back to social trends for 2017, we're saying that Facebook Live and Snapchat will go live, Instagram will stay live, but anything live video is the move for 2017.
The two social networks that businesses should be focusing on, and I know this is a very subjective comment because you're going to have B2B out there saying, well, what about LinkedIn? If you are a consumer brand, or even if you're in B2B, if you are trying to sell to anyone between the ages of 13 years old and 35, you have to be on Snapchat and or Instagram. And I say the and or because both of them do completely different objectives in terms of how you tell your brand story. And they have different features also. And the reality is they have different communities. I've seen this just with my own personal brand, in which there's not as much crossover as one would think from Snapchat over to Instagram. I tell you what, the value of being on both is you get to actually broaden your reach. So I would suggest companies out there really keep an eye on Instagram and keep a very close eye on Snapchat. If you're not there yet, just jump on. The easiest way to get started on Snapchat is actually leveraging your existing social networks, tapping into Twitter, tapping into Facebook, creating content that's exclusive on these networks. And honestly, the same thing applies for Instagram as well. It comes down to creating content that's exclusive on these channels that you can also cross-promote elsewhere.
Cross-promotion. That's what he said. You heard it first from the Carlos Gill. Thank you so much for joining us back at the center. Again, the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center is a resource center for startups and entrepreneurs. Everything we offer is free. Feel free to stop by the center for a class and watch all of our YouTube videos. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.